Might be working. We might be lucky tonight. All right, I think we're lucky. Hey, yay. Okay, thanks, Terry. I don't know why it was giving you a privacy error message. It's weird. The good thing we're recording it, right? All right, let's record. All right, everybody. Hey, welcome to day 4 of the 5-day note investing challenge. We're honored to have you guys all here tonight. 2 topics that, when you read them, dialing for dollars may sound very kind of boring. You know what I mean? It's not always the most exciting thing. And then networking, like, oh, Scott, come on. I'm going to share a couple of things tonight on both of these cases that I think you're really, really going to love. And so encourage you, get a pen and paper, take some notes. If you have not signed up for the gold or the VIP pass, do so. You can go back to 5daynotes.com and scroll down to the bottom and automatically upgrade your ticket from the free pass to the paid pass. And once you guys, you get a lot of bonuses sent out Monday and get rocking and rolling. Don't miss all 20 days of what we got going. If you found anything valuable in the last 5 days, the next 15, 16 days are going to be even more valuable for you guys as well. All right. So. All right, so dialing for dollars. Yay! Who wants to pick up the phone and make a bunch of phone calls? Nobody said, all right? Nobody really wants to do that in today's age. I mean, we are actually, the less we talk on the phone, I think a lot of times the happier we are. But unfortunately, in the note investing world, you have to kind of embrace the fact that you're going to talk to some people, including asset managers, when it's coming to helping you find note deals. Now, we've laid the groundwork quite a bit the last couple of days, day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4 today, to get to where today's topic, wherever you're watching this, is going to be really valuable for you as well out there. So dialing for dollars. Yes, I'm a big believer of smiling while dialing. Now, if you're not in a good mood and you hate the phone, then guess what? Don't do this, because it will. If you call with a bad attitude, frown, mumbling, you're going to just shoot yourself in the foot and cause more harm than good. All right. But as we've talked the last couple of nights, we talked about Lane Guide, using laneguide.com to create a list of asset managers. We've also talked about last night, or in day 3, using the Texas Savings and Mortgage Lending to create a list of mortgage bankers, servicing companies. These are 2 lists that are really valuable to you. Okay. Besides you just pulling traditional phone numbers and dialing a wild card, using these 2 lists can help you really prime that pump in getting deals. Now, I'm a big believer that you should email first. All right, we talked about email blasts last night or the night before and getting the word out on what you're doing. The same comes with asset managers. Get an email blast out first to your list, and then those that open their email, those are the ones that you call. The ones that bounce, that are no longer there. Now you can call the general number at the bank or the institution and use a warm name. Hey, I used to work with John Smith. It looks like he's no longer there. I'd love to talk to him first, but email it out, give him 48 hours. We'll talk a little bit here about when you should be emailing here in a second, but give it 48 hours, and then you can see if you're using an email service provider like MailChimp or Aweber or Keep or anything like that, you can see who's opened your emails more than once, open your emails and connected or clicked on links, and that's an important thing, okay? Now, here's the thing. If you're going to dial for dollars, I know many of you guys are working full-time, and I get it. That's quite all right. You may not have the time to do this, so you want to lean heavily on the Lane Guide side of things. But everybody can still send an email out, okay? Everybody can send an email out. And if you're going to make 50 phone calls, you're probably going to get about 20 conversations approximately where you actually get a hold of the person. It's a pretty good hit rate at 40%. And then you're probably going to have about a 20% hit rate off of that with non-disclosure agreements. Now, out of the NDAs you sign, you may get a variety of tapes. You may get some scratch and dent. You may get a one-off note. You may get a commercial deal. You may get a big portfolio. It's all going to vary, and I can't control what that is. But I can tell you that the average, the law of numbers we see, if you make 50 phone calls, you should at least on the low end side talk to 13 people, either gatekeepers or the right person if you're following the scripts that we use. And out of those, you're going to sign some non-disclosures. That's what an NDA stands for. That's a form that the bank will send you to sign off on before they release information to you. Okay. Now, the most important thing you can do to make your time valuable is track who you call and when you called them. Okay. And Excel, Google Sheets is one of the easiest things to do. The name of the bank, the person you spoke to, the number you called, the time you called, and then the result. You left a message. They took a message for you. You got email, something that you can keep track of. Now, if you've ever seen me dial for dollars or in the calling the bank asset managers, and we've got a couple videos on YouTube of me dialing for dollars for 3 to 4 hours or 5 hours, you'll see how I kind of track it. I have the bank name, the person I talked to, the email, or the phone number I called, and what was the outcome of it. Okay. Now, if you're going to be leaving a lot of voice messages, I'm just going to tell you here, always, always, always leave a message. If you don't leave a message, you basically just wasted your time. Now, yes, I know you're get transferred and hung up on, disconnected. I get it. Heck, it happens to me still. Don't use an auto dialer. Okay. This is unfortunately a one phone call at a time. An auto dialer isn't going to help. I also wouldn't necessarily use a VA, a virtual assistant, to dial for dollars for you initially. I would have you do it, record your script, get comfortable with what you want to do first, and then outsource it. Because one of the best ways to train a VA is to record you making like 20 to 30 phone calls and then providing that to the VA. Hint, hint, wink, wink. But always, always leave a message so that when you call back the second time or the third time, or you send an email at the end of the day, or you track the person down on LinkedIn, you can always say, hey, I left you a message today. Okay. Follow up. Like I said, follow up on LinkedIn. If you find that you get the right name, then jump on LinkedIn and see if they're on there. If they're on there and they have a picture and more than 500 contacts, they're probably on LinkedIn. If you find their name and they don't have a profile photo on LinkedIn or less than 500 contacts on LinkedIn, they're probably not on LinkedIn. But you can still find who they looked at, and they're also coworkers, other people with the same titles. Okay. Now, if you have their email address, okay, follow up with another personal email. Don't send it through MailChimp necessarily. I mean, you guess you could, but I think it would be better to send that second email, more of a personal email. Hey, just wanted to let you know, just wanted to touch base with you. I saw that you opened my email from 2 days ago. I left you a voice message and connected with on LinkedIn, because you'll see the reason why we talk about it, because you want to be touching base with these people multiple times. And the more you can touch them, that sounds kind of creepy, the more you can get in touch with them, the better off you'll be. 80% of sales comes after the fifth contact. I can't tell you the number of people I know and have taught that make phone calls once and that's all they ever do it. And that's just not, if this is the most valuable, really the most valuable piece of marketing you can do. So people hate it, but it is also one of the most effective things that you can do connecting with people. Now, if you get a gatekeeper, an assistant, ask them to listen. Okay, great. They may not put you through to voicemail. Okay, great. Do you have his email, or could you share your email and I can send you? I want to respect you or their time. Okay. Always ask for an email. If you've been transferred, make sure you ask for their phone number again. Ask, okay, could you give me your boss's name? Sorry, don't mean to bother you. Could you mind spelling that out so I just can make notes here to follow back up within a month or so, like that. But always ask for your email, either theirs, the gatekeepers, or the asset manager who you're talking to. All right. It's one of the most important things that you can do. All right. Now, simple scripts. You're going to be leaving a lot of scripts. You want to practice this. Okay. And a very simple script is kind of like this. Okay. Hello, my name is Scott Carson with Inverse Asset Fund. I believe you are the person in charge of your firm's distressed note sales or special assets department. I wanted to check with you to see if you might have any notes that you're looking to move this quarter. We're looking for residential loans from 100 to 500K and small balance commercial loans under 5 million. I'd love to schedule a call with your convenience. Thanks. My email is scott@weclosenotes.com and my phone number is 512-585-3810. Once again, my phone number is 512-585-3810, and I look forward to talking to you. Thank you. Pretty short and sweet. I could say that in my sleep, all right? And here's the most magical thing that you can do. When I first started off, practice. What's intimidating and what scares people the most is they don't know what they're going to say. They don't know if people are going to be excited to make a phone call, but then they're going to be like, oh, crap, they actually answered the phone. The more you can practice, the better off you'll be. If you've ever taken my 3-day virtual workshop, you know we have a variety of scripts in there. If you're a VIP, sign up for this. We'll include those scripts and some other things in there as well to help you out with that. Now, if they answer, oh my gosh, scary time, right? people will like to run screaming and hang up the phone. All right. If they answer, kudos to you. All right. That's a good thing. All right. Now, a funny story is like the second class I was ever teaching 10 years ago now, roughly. It was a small class in Dallas. Lady was on the phone. Wendy DeWeese, I remember her. Wendy made her first phone call, and an asset manager picked up on the very first ring of the first phone call. She didn't expect it. And he had a deal, and it was just hilarious. She's like, oh my gosh. So I'm like pantomiming there, like, writing out what to say. We had them on speakerphone, and we're going back and forth. But they will answer. Remember, out of 50 phone calls, you probably talk to 20 people. So you want to have your script kind of ready to rock and roll. Practice it. Tweak this for your own kind of thing. Practice a few times. Role play with your friend, whatever it might be. Just leave the whips and chains out of the role playing. Hello, my name is Scott Carson with Diverse Asset Fund. I believe you are the person in charge of your firm's distressed note sales or special assets department. Is that you? Are you the right person? Great. I wanted to check with you to see if you might have any notes that you're looking to move this quarter. We're looking for resi loans from 1 to 500K and small balance commercial loans under 5 million. We're buying in most of the major markets, major and secondary markets for our own portfolio. And I'd love to look at what you're looking to move off your books this quarter next. We can usually give you a tentative bid in 24 to 48 hours. Okay. Pretty simple. That's what you're looking for. They may ask you what you're looking for. Well, here you go. The reason we're generic about this stuff is it's generic enough that it's easy for them just to hit download, forward you the list if you need to. We always say we're buying for our own portfolio, even if we're going to, some of them we're going to wholesale. We're always buying for a portfolio. We're talking about the loan size. They'll ask pricing wise, and that's where it gets in a little bit more in the FAQs. Pricing will vary on location, foreclosure time frame, how far the borrower's behind, what type of asset. A lot of things will go into that. That's why we're good at giving bids back in 24 to 40 hours once we've got the information. I don't quote bids on the phone, but I tell people we'll go up to 70% in some cases if it's close to an REO, and we'll go from there. Now, if they tell you that they got performing notes or they've got non-performing, but they want par for it, then it's not worth wasting your time. Par means basically if they owe 100, they're trying to sell it at 100. And if it's a non-performing note, you're not going to pay par for it. So one of the great things that I always ask, if you talk on the phone, try to ask and find out what kind of pricing point they're looking for. If you get a tape, congratulations, kudos to you. But a tape in doesn't mean anything unless you know exactly what kind of price point they're looking for. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's important to know what kind of price. Okay. Now, I like to kind of automate this a little bit. All right. Now, remember, we talked about on day one jumping on LinkedIn and typing special asset managers or chief credit risk officers or secondary marketing department. I would do this too. I would go on there, and this is something that you guys can technically kind of do virtual dialing for dollars, no matter what your schedule is. And you can do this at nights. You can do this on the weekends. You can do this when you're sitting at work bored. You could jump on LinkedIn and send a message to asset managers and keep it short. Okay. Sending an invite out to somebody on LinkedIn, you only have 300 characters. So it's different than sending an email blast out. It's smaller. Okay. Now, one of the things I like to do is I automate my asset manager reach outs via Octopus. That's why we talked so much about it the other night, is that I can pull over 500 to 1,000 special asset managers into the Octopus thing and automate my CRM tool. Now, I'll show you a little bit later here how we do it with investors on the networking side in a few minutes. Okay. Now, here's what I have in my message. Hello, and that's the first name and last name. Hello, Steve. I wanted to see if you're the correct person at blank company who handles your firm's distressed loan sales. I'd love to connect to see if you have what you have on your books that you're looking to get rid of in the fourth quarter that we can buy for our own portfolio. Thanks, Scott Carson. Now, what you want to do as well that I've worked well is you might want to take time, if you've got the setup, you might want to record a short little video, a short pitch video, 1 to 2 minutes, talking more about your company. Hey, we've been in distressed assets for 20 years in the Atlanta area, but we're buying in roughly about 5 major states. We're buying for our own portfolio. This is the type of assets we're looking for. Just something simple. Check out our website, weclosedoors.com. A 1 to 2 minute pitch video. We've done this in the past, and it has worked really well. We upload the video to YouTube, and we put the link to the YouTube video in here. We might even use a bit.ly link so we can mask the YouTube link, but then we can also track how many people actually click on the bit.ly link so we can see And it works well. That's a great way to see how many messages people are actually clicking on your links. And every time somebody clicked on the video, we actually got a phone call or a connection, which is really great. So using LinkedIn Messenger message connections is really, really effective for you to do. It's something that you can do. Roughly, you can connect with about 100 people a day, whether it's investors or asset managers. I start off my day by trying to connect with 100 new people, either whether it's investors or asset managers. That's what we try to do. But this is a great way to automate it. And then when people actually respond to you, then I try to get them connected. What's your best email? What's your best phone number? And then we pull their information over into our CRM so we can add them to our email lists. Okay. Now, if you're going to be calling, best times to call or email. All right. Best times to call or email. You don't want to call every time, and you have to keep in time understand what time zone that asset manager might be in. Best times to call are Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Call middle of the week, just like emailing. If you remember the other night. If you're going to get in a call period, then call from 10 a.m. to noon, their time zone, or 2 to 5 p.m. their time zone. So if you're on the East Coast, guess what? You can call the West Coast when you get home at 5 o'clock for a couple hours. If you're on the West Coast, guess what? You got to get up awful early to call on the East Coast. But this is why you want to do a mixture of emailing, LinkedIn connections, and phone calls to follow up. Now, if you can't connect with them during the day, then you may want to do it during your lunch break or kind of figuring out how that time zone matches up. Okay. The worst time to call. You don't want to call Monday. You don't want to call Friday, but also avoid the last week of the month and the quarter. The reason the last week of the month and the quarter are bad times to call because they're busy dealing with reports. They don't have time to talk with you. They're not going to close anything that last week anyway. So avoid it. Don't call the last week of the month or the last week of the quarter. Call the first week, call the second week, call the third week, but don't call the last week of the month or quarter. It just doesn't work out well. Okay. You'll be leaving way more messages and people will be a bit more grumpy because they're trying to get deals out. Right. Now, if you're going to call, carve out 2 hours, get in a roll, if you're going to do this, give yourself 2 hours. Don't do 30 minutes or an hour and be distracted. I get people all the time. Oh, I called banks. Really? How many did you call? Well, I called like 10. I'm like, that's nothing. I'm like, come on. That's nothing. Call 1,000 people and then tell me it doesn't work. Okay? Because it does work if you get in a rhythm. And Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you pick an hour or 2 hours a day on Tuesday or 2 hours on Thursday. Do it once or twice a week. You'll see it's not that bad. All right? And it actually is something you'll be good at. You'll get in a rhythm and keep that rhythm going. Avoid distractions. Turn off the TVs, your email. Just get in rock and rolling for it, okay? Doug asks a good question. He goes, when you tell them you're looking for notes from 100K to 500K, is that original note value, UPB, FMV of the property? Usually, you could say either or on values of over 100 grand or on UPB of 100K. Rarely will you get a bank that has notes below 75K. Okay, so my calling banks and asset managers, most of the time it's going to be over 100K in value, 100K in UPB. Okay? All right. Does that make sense there, Doug? Now, it also depends on when the loan was written 5 years ago in this default. They may be a whole lot more than what it was. But 100K, you're just doing this to make it simple. Keep it simple. The more complicated you try to make it, you don't want to come across, say, hey, I got 20 million to buy this month. If you had 20 million to buy, you wouldn't be on the phone. It'd be somebody else. Get what I'm saying? Don't say that. Don't tell them you're a buyer's mandate. Don't tell them you're a buyer's rep. Screw that stuff. That screams joker broker. Okay? What you want to do more than anything else is say you're buying for your own portfolio. I'd love to see what you have in your books that we can make an offer on. And by we, it's you and your company, you and your cohorts. Okay? Be you and your dog. Here's a game that I like to play. I take every no as being worth $500. Now, a little bit about when I got started. When I started calling banks back 13 years ago, golly, 2000, I remember pulling a list off of LinkedIn and just dollar for dollars. I knew I came across an assignment of mortgage with Capital One Commercial. All right. Nope, Doug, if you don't need to register, you're good, Doug. You're already taken care of. Okay. All right. Every note is worth $500. So I knew that Capital One had some commercial notes for sale. So I started dialing for dollars. I started to track down the right department in Capital One. And over a 3-week period of time, I'm not joking, I tracked it. I made 70 phone calls, 69 transfers, bad phone numbers. I had to basically, it was over 3 weeks because I would do it once a week for an hour or two. And I would just focus on Capital One because I knew that this deal that I was looking to buy, the note got sold from under me on this 4-unit retail center off of Airport Boulevard here in Austin, Texas. And so I'm down, I finally get to the right department, right person, Amy Grasso. Okay, get her on the phone. I look at my number. It's the 70th phone call. Great. She sends me a list. We end up flipping a list. Flipping an 8-unit apartment complex in San Diego. We made 35 grand on. Okay, it was like a 30-day process to make 35 grand. Got her in contract. We marketed it off. We got her in contract for $375. We basically sold the note, flipped the paper for $415. It's a good day making 35 grand. Okay, good month to make 35 grand. So I took 35 grand and divided by 70, and guess what I came up with? $500 a note. So keep that. Every no you get, every transfer you get, you're closer to a yes. So play that game. It makes it that much easier for you as long as you stick with it. If you make 5 phone calls and get no's and hang up, you're just wasted your time. Keep making phone calls. Now, if you're going to email, you can set up your email service provider to send out emails at a future date. Okay. Email Tuesday through Thursday, either at 10 a.m. or 2 p.m., depending on their time zone. Okay. Now, if you get a group of list of emails, you're like, well, Scott, I don't know what their time zone is. That's okay. You may want to upgrade if you're using like a MailChimp, that you can upgrade so that it goes out to their time zone. You can actually, it's called a time warp feature. Otherwise, just send it at 10 a.m. On the West Coast time, okay, or wherever you are basically at. Send it out and start tracking it. You can start seeing when people open their emails and what time, okay? Now, those that open their email, remember, you send it on a Tuesday, Thursday, it's 48 hours later, you can start calling those people on Thursday that open their email, okay? That's a good thing. Now, that's who I would call. You probably have a 10 to 15% open rate the first time you send an email, a 5 to 10 on the second, and 1 to 3, 1 to 4 on the third time you send an email out to those that didn't open up. So you send it out on a Tuesday, send a follow-up email on Thursday to those that didn't open. On the following Tuesday, send an email to those that didn't open the first or the second one email, okay? And send it opposite times. If you send it at 11 a.m., send it at 3 o'clock. If you send it at 2 o'clock the first time, send it at 11 a.m. or 10 a.m. Just get in the habit of doing this on a monthly basis. It doesn't take much to do this, but by sending the emails out, you'll see who's opening your emails. That's going to become your hot list to call, especially if you can see who's opened your email more than once. All right. Now, what you might want to do is also include a booking link in your email. Okay, let's schedule a phone call. Here's my link to jump on my calendar. And I'll talk a little bit about that with networking here later on, but include a booking link. I use Calendly. I have an asset manager calendar for them, or it's a 15-minute phone call. They can book it. It's name, email, phone number, their bank, and that's about it. Very simple, short and sweet. So they're booked, and they can book any time on my schedule. All right, and I take that back. Not every time. I don't do Mondays, but I do basically Tuesday through Fridays for them from basically 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, because there's some people on the West Coast that will call me at 5 o'clock their time, and that's fine. So keep it short and sweet. Your booking link, keep your emails at your phone. Don't want them to be long diaries of the mouth. You want to keep it to that, remember, 10 to 20 lines of text in an email, something simple, very simple to what we just included in the previous slides for you. Okay, now once you have spoken to them, once you've actually spoken to them or you've exchanged emails back and forth, place them into a separate list than your main list. Because you don't need to send them, hey, are you the right person? Hey, are you the right person? Hey, you're the right person. Because you know they're the right person. Okay. So once you've actually spoken to them, I like to put them on a warm email list. As I say, I'm just touching base with you. Hey, just wanted to touch base with you for February. What do you have? What are you looking to move this month? Okay, what are you looking to move this quarter? Just touching base. If you see anything, I'd love an introduction. I'd love to talk. Very short, direct, straight to the point. It's a very simplified email. It does have my logo across it, and it's still called the green email, but it's not. It's about a third as long as the rest of my emails are that go to asset managers. It's just touching base with you for February, just touching base for you for March. Okay. Now, one of the things I do with my one-on-one coaching students is actually have created basically 12 months of email titles that'll go out to them. So that kind of sparks their interest. It makes them laugh a little bit if you're sending out to generic lists. But Once you've spoken to somebody, put them on a separate list. It's like your warm buddies. Hey, what's going on this month? Like I got a bunch of asset managers I call. Hey, what do you have this month? What do you got this quarter that you're looking to get? Because I've spoken with them before. Hey, this is Scott. How's it going, man? We shoot the breeze for a few seconds and we move on. Okay. Now here's the thing. I don't send direct mail out to asset managers. If I pull a list off of Lane Guide or Texas Savings Mortgage Lending, don't send direct mail because you don't know if it's going to go to the right spot. But if somebody does send you the list, okay, they send you a list and then on their email have their information, address, and located. Hey, make sure you say thank you. Send them an email. Hey, just want to say thanks for sending the list over. All right. And if they send you a list, make sure you let them know you got it. Now, even if it has stuff that doesn't make sense, if it's scratch and dent stuff or stuff that they want too much, say thank you. I've received your list. I don't see anything on this right now that hits what we're looking for. But thank you for doing. The worst thing you can do is get a list and then not respond to the asset manager because he's like, he or she's like, okay, did you get it? Did you not get it? So I always respond, say thank you. I received it. We'll have an answer back to you in 24 to 48 hours. Okay. And I always like try to do 48 hours. Now, if I see stuff on here that's not anything at all with what I have, in that 48-hour period, I want to make sure and ask them, hey, what kind of pricing point? What's the price stuff that you're looking for on this? Anything I should know? And then I can come back in 48 hours and say, hey, thank you. There's nothing on this. Or, hey, thank you. We would like to make an offer on a couple of these. Okay. Now, here's the thing, too. Most special asset managers or secondary marketing peeps, they're only handling one side of the bank's loans. They're usually handling resi. If they're handling resi, they're handling commercial. If they're handling commercial, they're not handling residential. A lot of the bigger banks, they may have one person in charge of residential, but then multiple people in charge of commercial based on the assets and the location and geographic speaking, okay? So keep that in mind. So if you're talking to somebody, ask for referrals. Hey, you're in charge of residential. Do you know who handles the commercial side? Are you the only asset manager there that handles that? Are there other hedge fund guys there, other managers, people that are handling other assets that you want? Can you make an introduction to me? Okay. If they don't have something now, then follow up monthly. A lot of the conversations we're having with asset managers is this. Hey, I don't have anything right now, but follow up with me later date. Okay. I follow up with a month, follow up with a quarter. Follow up on a monthly basis. Put that in your calendar, book it, and stick to it. Okay. Follow up with an email, a phone call, and a LinkedIn message to those people if they're on those three. Hey, just let you a voice message. Hey, just touch a base. They appreciate when you follow up. They really do, because they're busy just like you and me. And if they get sidetracked, they may forget to call back. So just follow up on a monthly basis. Expect it to follow up, okay? Now, if you end up closing on something, you buy something, or you end up buying something from the bank, what I like to do is I'll send a thank you note. And most people don't know that bankers can accept up to $100 a gift up to $100 value once a year from you. So I am notorious for sending, their favorite poison, bottle of vodka, a good bottle of wine. I sent one asset manager a case of her favorite wine. I was in Vegas. I'm not in Vegas. I was in Miami, and I took a couple guys that were asset managers at U.S. Century Bank. I took them to a Miami Heat game, and we had a great night out. As an ex-banker, I know that I can accept up to $100, a gift, not $100 cash. But you get what I'm saying. So keep that in mind. A lot of these guys and gals with special assets, they're incentivized to move stuff off their books at the end of the quarter. It's been an interesting time now, but keep that in mind. A thank you note goes a long way. Okay. If it's a female asset manager, a spa finder is a really good thing. We send a lot of spa finder stuff to female asset managers. And they could go get their nails done or get a pedicure, whatever they want to, or, bottle of wine, gift package, fruit, whatever. Spend $100. It's well worth it. It goes a long way, because guess what? If they got a thank you note there on their desk or spa or something, they think about you first. And when deals fall out of the cracks, they think of who's taking good care of them. And I've gotten so many deals when asset managers have called us and said, listen, I just had a deal fall through. I think you might be interested in it, that they never marketed out, just because of the fact that we sent that little extra. And if you're going to buy even a $20,000 asset or a $200,000 asset, pay $100 and send them a gift. Okay. It's well worth it. And a thank you note goes a long way. Okay. Questions about dialing for dollars, ladies and gentlemen. Just do this, add this to, if you've got some time, great. Right now, a lot of people are working remotely or working from home. I get that. You're not going to get everybody at the office. Every time I've called the bank and it gets transferred to their cell phone. Just follow up. If they say their cell phone what I have found over the last 12 months is that more bankers are willing to speak with. I've had more callbacks than I've had in a long time, from people calling back and telling me, yes, we've got this stuff. Yes, we're looking to move this stuff. Yes, yes, yes. Can't say yes now, but I can say yes in a month or yes next quarter. Okay. So you have to realize it just takes a little time. It's going to take some practice, and it's well worth doing. Okay. Like I said before, if you've signed up for the VIP pass, we'll have some scripts, plus some other things involved with this stuff that you can use when sending out to asset managers. Okay. Questions from you guys? Now, one of the things that we're going to go through on day 5, just so you know, we're going to go through dialing for dollar. Oh, so that's tonight. Sorry. Is going through Scotsman Guide a little bit, and how to use Scotsman Guide to find some more commercial notes tomorrow night on day 5. Okay. But as you can see, we're going to go through a lot of things. We're going to talk about how we can use LinkedIn groups to find asset managers, Facebook groups, conferences, a whole variety of other things over the next 16 days in finding deals, finding notes for you. Dialing for dollars. It's still a conversation game, ladies and gentlemen. Pick up the phone, do it. Trust me, you will not regret it. Okay? All right. Let's move on, shall we? All right, day 4's lesson on the fun side. We're going to be talking about networking for funding. Now, this is a different model. I'm not just talking about going to your local real estate investor club and hanging out. What I mean by networking, I mean networking on steroids and doing just a couple things to help yourself stand out from the crowd, right? Because we've all been there. We all go to networking events. We sit through an hour presentation. It might be good, it might be bad. The same people mulling around. Some people that don't do anything. Some people that do something. Vendors, whatever. When I go and speak at real estate investment clubs, I always try to show up for the networking beforehand, so I can see who's doing stuff. The bigger groups, you'll see people doing stuff, the cliques, and the groups that are friends. That's good, okay? But many people fail at networking, especially if they're still working a full-time job. They take networking as a way of just showing up to itch their itch. Now, it's changed, obviously, in 2020. Now, it's 2021, but it's changed over the last 14 months, especially the last 12 months, okay? Less in-person networking. You're obviously seeing more Zoom calls, more virtual events, more virtual happy hours. It's not the same thing going and elbowing somebody saying, hey, how's it going? What do you do? You have to get a little bit creative in what we're doing. Anytime you can do that, it helps, all right? Anytime you can help prime the pump and get people networking virtually, it will help out. And here's the thing, you guys, it doesn't take much. You guys are already starting to do a little bit of that right now, okay? One of the most important things you can do is get you a Calendly booking link. This is free for 14 days. Calendly.com. It's pretty cheap. Actually, it's really cheap. But if you're going to be talking to people, whether it's investors or bankers, get you a booking link so they can book directly into your schedule. I have used Calendly for a couple of years now. I actually have a Calendly for when I'm talking to investors, a Calendly when I'm talking to asset managers. I have one for my podcast. Heck, you guys all know. You can go straight to talkwithscottcarson.com. That's one of the great things. Calendly will give you a URL, but I would highly recommend, like Doug Homer, who's on here, go out and buy Talk with Doug Homer or Talk with Doug. All right. Talk with Dougie. Show me how to Dougie. All right. Maybe not that, but you get what I'm saying. Show me how to Dougie.com. All right. Because that's an easy thing for people to remember. That's why I have talkwithscottcarson.com. Easy to put. But actually, if you click on talkwithscottcarson.com, it's easy for me to remember, for other people to remember, and it goes directly into my Calendly link. And now, guess what? When so many people register my Calendly, guess what? I have their info, their name, their email, their phone number, and what they're calling about a lot of times. And I can export my Calendly link once a month. And now I have these investors that have connected with me in a variety of places. They're asset managers. It comes in really, really handy, okay? Use this in your email signature. I even put it in my Zoom name, okay? My first name on Zoom is Scott Carson. My last name is talkwithscottcarson.com, okay? Put it in your social media post. Hey, guys, if anybody would love to talk about real estate we're looking for, here's a link to book. Comes in extremely handy, all right? But this is the way that you can virtually grab somebody's contact information, their business card. Hey, let's talk, especially you're on a Zoom call. Hey, here's somebody want to talk about notes or what I'm working on or wants interested in this deal here. Let's book some time on my schedule. Talk with Scott Carson, talk with Doug Homer, talk with LauraChilds.com. All right. Talk with AliceCooper.com. All right. Now, I also, with networking, you have to be a little bit more aggressive. I mean, I know most of the time we're used to going to a meeting once a week, once every 2 weeks, or once a month, depending where you're located. But you can't do that these days in a lot of places. So I use LinkedIn search to help me grow my networking. Now, I've done this over the last few years because there's not a big note investor data note group here in Austin, Texas. Austin has one major RIA club. And the guys that run the one big RIA club here, basically they focus on their stuff. It's all self-centered, which is really not what I want. They don't do any notes, so they don't want anybody talking about notes. Okay, fine. So I had to look at other places outside of Austin to connect with people. So I've been using LinkedIn search a ton to connect and grow my network all across the country. And I'll show you guys that in just a second. Okay. I use Octopus to automate this to try to connect with 100 investors a day. And I'll show you exactly how I do this in just a second. So before I go on to it, I want to show you my LinkedIn message to investors, because you could all could go to LinkedIn right now and type in note investors or real estate investor and see how many people pop up. Okay. And you can send an invite out to and try to connect with people. Okay. And here's basically what my message is. Once again, remember, as we talked about previously, you only have 300 characters in a LinkedIn invite. Okay. So it's the same thing. Hello, first name, whatever their name is. I'm a fellow investor and looking to connect with others in the area. My focus is buying distressed notes on residential commercial properties in 30 different states. What types of deals are you looking for? I look forward to connecting. Scott Carson. And then I put my Calendly link at the bottom. All right. So if they could click on that, guess what? Kudos. Yay. I captured information. I had 3 phone calls yesterday from investors alone from doing this, and had 3 people talk about investing anywhere from 50 grand each to 150 grand. So it was well worth it to talk with them about this. And this is something that each and every one of you can do on a regular basis. Okay. Leverage your networking. We'll get this in just a second when I showed you here, but other things you can leverage. Okay. Take that booking link. Talk with Doug Homer. Invest with Doug. Ooh, I like that one. Investwithdoug.com. Okay. Put that if you're going to do put that booking link. If you're going to do your case study videos, talking about case studies, put that as the very first link at the top before your website. Okay. Because you put it, but the first link you put is a clickable link in the description on the YouTube channel. Okay. Put it on your flyers. If you're doing paper case studies, put your link at the bottom. If you're going to send out direct mail to IRA investors like we talked about doing yesterday, find them, put your link on there for people to connect with you. Okay. If you're doing a case study link to LinkedIn, note or real estate investors, the booking link, like I just talked about. Hey, I got a deal in your backyard. Let's talk. Okay. Let's book. Okay. There's a lot of great things you can do with that. You also, and this is something that I just started doing here in the last couple months. You guys have heard about Clubhouse. If you've got an iPhone, it's a online voice only kind of party line is the best way to say it. So like last night, I was on a Clubhouse with about 200 other real estate investors talking about a variety of different topics. My turn came to speak. I talked about note investing for 5 minutes. I had 30 people that opted into my schedule because they went to my profile on and how Clubhouse works. It'll you can either have it show your Twitter or Instagram, but then also you have a bio there. Okay, well, I had 40 people connect with me on Instagram. All in that, basically, that 45 minutes I was on there where I was booked for 5 minutes. But I put my booking link, my talk with Scott Carson, in my profile, and they had several booked appointments from it. And I was really blown away. So if you have if you've got a Android phone, sorry, it's not out for Android right yet, but if you got an iPhone, you might want to spend a little bit of time on there if you're bored, because it really has become a great place to network with people on a regular basis. And I've really liked that. I don't spend 5 hours there. I may spend 2-3 hours a week on Clubhouse because I'll check out the different real estate groups. I may remind myself, I may host a group once a week on something. But that's the beautiful thing. It's basically virtual networking, sharing. It's a great Q&A thing. You'll see a variety of things. You'll see other investors, other people they connect with. You can connect with them on their Twitter or their Instagram handles. I like going to Instagram and seeing what they're doing. You can go to their Twitter and see what they're sharing. A lot of them, they've got a good profile. They'll have their LinkedIn profile and other URLs that you can click. You can't really click on them, but you can still copy paste them. Okay. Now, if you're going to create a Clubhouse app, create a profile with your website and with links and other things as well for you. Okay. Terry asked a question: do you have a separate URL for each topic? Are you talking about on the Calendly link? Yeah. So like Talk with Scott Carson, that's for my investors. All right. Assetmanager.com. No, it's not assetmanager.com. Oh, what is it? I have a general one that we're going to go my calendar. I'll show you guys in just a second here. Yes. So like I have one for my podcast, book on the Don't Close Show. I have another one that I use for events. If I'm going to like put on like Note Camp, I create a Calendly link over the 3 days, a calendar just for those 3 days, and my speakers book on those 3 days. So it's really kind of effective. I'll show it here in just a second, Terry. Okay. Thanks for bringing it up. Okay. All right. But with Clubhouse, create a profile, get on there, start sharing. It's become a really great place to networking, and you'd be surprised. There's people on there with money looking to invest in either syndications or other things like that, and everybody's fascinated with notes right now. Okay, so get on there, check it out. It's well worth it. Now, old-fashioned networking, if you are going to your local real estate club or networking or lunch hour or whatever it might be, here's the thing. If you're in person, go and you're brand new, go up and ask the host who you should talk to. If you're going to an IRA event and you've made friends with the IRA people, ask them, hey, who should I talk to here? Who's at the group? And they'll tell you, oh, yeah, talk to this guy, talk to this gal. It's a great way to do it, okay? And here's the thing. Don't be a time vampire. When it comes to networking, it's good to talk with somebody and and I would rather have a good conversation with one person who knows what the hell they're doing versus 20 people who don't know what they're doing, okay? So be respectful. If somebody won't ask you questions, won't respond back and forth with doesn't show an interest, then move on to somebody else, okay? Exchange business card. You need to have a business card, okay? Now, what I do is I always have a business card scanned into my phone. So if I do walk into and I forget to grab my stack of cards, I can text them. I'm like, oh, give me your cell phone number. I'll text you my contact information, or I'll text you my business card. Now, with business cards, ladies and gentlemen, you do this, put your freaking face on it. People, when you walk out of a networking meeting, you have a stack of business cards. Who is this guy? Who's this gal? Okay, I know it may seem like a realtor, but put your freaking face on it. It goes so much longer for people to remember you. And do one company only. When I see somebody who's got 4 or 5 different businesses on their business card, it screams to me that they're a jack of all trades and a master of none. I don't care if you have 2 businesses or 3 businesses of a different card. I'll say, oh, this is my work card. It's my real. That's fine, totally fine. But when somebody hands me their flimsy, like single sheet of piece of paper that they printed out in their home printers, got like 5 things that they do, I'm like, no, it goes in the trash. Okay, spend some money. Your business card is not only a first impression a lot of times if you're passing it out, it's also a second impression when they get home and they're emptying out their wallets to see who they need to talk to. Okay. Now, if you talk to somebody they don't have a business card, but they're interesting, hey, just pull out one of yours, and I like to leave the back of mine blank, and I'll take some notes, or I'll take some notes as I'm sitting there. Hey, I need to talk to this guy about this, or I need to talk to this guy about this. Okay. Now, I like to send an email before I go to bed the next night, or that same night, send an email. Hey, it was great meeting you. A lot of times I may even do it straight from my cell phone. Great talking with you, or connect with them on LinkedIn, on Facebook. I'll do this, especially if I'm going to an event. I'll look for the speaker. I'll take a picture of the speaker speaking, and I'll text them that, or find their website, or find their social media, and share that photo with them them speaking, and they love it. That's an instant. You're adding value immediately to them. All right. Because people are speaking, love to get photos of them speaking so they can use it for marketing. Well, if you take a good photo of them, I made some great relations with some great people that I've been at other events just from texting them a picture of them speaking, or messaging them, or sending them an email and say, hey, it was nice to meet you. I look at my notes, I add in my database. Okay. You can use like a card scan, or Evernote there's all sorts of different card scanning apps on your smartphones that you can scan that card and it'll upload to a spreadsheet for you. Okay. Here's the thing you got to realize. Taking a stack of cards home is great if you do something with them. If you just let them sit there on your desk or in your shoebox or your key tray, all it does is waste, because most emails, huge amount of emails go bad after 6 months. And so like many of us, we all have a shoebox full of business cards. Doesn't do you any good to hold on to me. Might as well just throw them away. Okay. A shoebox full of business cards aren't going to do you any good if you don't ever reach out to them. So make it a habit when you meet somebody, you get a business card, you add them to your database, add them to your You scan their business card, send a message. It adds such an easy thing to do, and so few people do it these days. Okay. All right. Now, if you're in an area where you don't like your networking groups, you don't like what's going on, guess what? Start one on your own. It's really easy to start something these days and adding value to things. I mean, heck, look at Note Night in America. That originally started, Note Night in America started back in 2010, 2011 as just investors coming together to talk. It was a conference call that we did for a couple of years, just talking. Actually, it was back in 2006 we started doing those conference calls, okay? And it grew to beyond that, okay? You could create your own meetup group, whether it's in person or now. Meetup is allowing you to do virtual meetups, which is really nice. They finally got on the path of that, okay? You can do it via like a webinar, like Zoom like this, or a meeting on Zoom calls or whatever. Go to webinars, write things. You could do a Facebook group where people are interacting. You can do all of those to get people to network, okay? If you do it monthly, guess what? You got to come up with 12 topics or 12 meetings. That's pretty easy. The problem with 12 months is it takes about 6 months or 6 events to really start building some traction with things. Now, I've been in groups where I've had one person in the audience, and I would glad to talk to that one person because that one person is better than zero. And I'll pour my information to that person or really take time to see if we can add value to each other's businesses with that one person. Once a month, okay, you're going to market it. If you do it bi-monthly, like once every 2 weeks, that's not bad. 24 months or 26 a month, great. Pretty easy to do. All right. If you do it weekly, you've got to commit to it. All right. If you start off weekly and then fade it down to monthly, that's not a good thing. I would always start off doing a monthly call and then bring it up to doing it bi-monthly or weekly. Monthly or weekly are the best. Bi-monthly, people forget about it. Is this week or next week? And you got to do a lot more job in marketing. But if you have a meetup group, you could bring on speakers. Heck, you guys could all book 24 speakers right now, every single one of you, to conference calls on a meetup group online in your city, in your area, whatever you want to do, okay? There are plenty of groups out there existing that don't have people in them anymore too, all right? What I love about Meetup too is Meetup will organically suggest people to join your group based on their interests that they say. At one point, before Meetup changed, we had roughly about 50 plus virtual Meetup groups where weekly we would get together. And what we did is we did a conference call, Note Night in America, and then basically the groups would basically interact or comment individually. In a lot of those cases, the green ones were already where we had people moderating them. Red ones where we were looking for people to help out with that. And then Meetup changed their things and said, oh no, it's got to be in person only, no virtual stuff. So they shut all our groups down overnight. So right now you can still do the same thing. It is such a valuable thing. Meetup will help you find people. They'll connect with you. You can pretty easily, if you're just doing a little bit of marketing on social media, or you can really have 50 to 100 people be part of your group as long as you're consistent and stick with it. You're going to start a meetup, start a networking group. Just stick to it. Just stick to it and just stick to it. You can do it free where it doesn't cost you anything. Virtually, if you're going to start meeting in person, try to find a coffee shop, Panera or something like that that's COVID safe. Okay. What you have to realize in all this when it comes to networking is it's all about building relationships and that touch point. 48% of sales are made, 40% of salespeople never follow up with a prospect. That's like getting a business card and then just throw it in the trash. 1 in 4 never make a second contact, or make a second contact and stop. 1 in 8, 12% of salespeople only make 3 contacts and stop. Only 10% of salespeople make more than 3 contacts. Think about this. That's why we talk so much about touching base. Because when you get beyond that third and you start touching base 4 or 5 ways with people, guess what? You start going into rare air. You have to realize only 2% of sales are made on the first contact, 3% are made on the second, 5 on the third, 10% in the fourth, but the remaining 80% are made on the 5th to 12th contact. Just follow up, just share, add people to your database. That's part of what we've talked about so much for the last couple of days. Is just not the networking, not just for investors, just not for real estate people, just not for asset managers. It all merges together, and you're doing a lot of the same things to find deals and a lot of the same things to fund deals, right? So questions, before we ask your questions here, let me do this. I'm going to escape out of this. And I wanted to bring this up for you guys. All right, let me do the new share here. All right, so there's Facebook. All right, so LinkedIn here. So like if you're at LinkedIn here, well, yep, share it. Come on. All right. So I'm on my LinkedIn profile here right now. Okay. Now, if you click on, anybody can do this. You click on home. All right. And let's just do this. You go up here to the search. Let's just type note investors. All right, note investor. And it pulls up, drum roll. If we click on people here, people that say note investor in their profile, it's 254,000 people. Now we know it's not exactly that, but that's a pretty good chunk. And you see, I've got some pending invitations out with people. Penny, because I've used that. I'm like, oh, connect, Steve Drake. Okay. Some of these people I've already reached out to. So I have Octopus already. Now, the thing I would do, Octopus is up here on the left-hand side. I already got it running. So I'm going to click on Octopus over here. All right. It takes me to my dashboard. Okay. Now, let's say, actually, let me do this. Let me close this down and I'll bring it up directly from it. All right. So once you've got, I'm back to LinkedIn here. Now, let's say I want to activate Octopus. I'm going to go over to my right-hand side for my plugins. I'm going to go down and hit Octopus all-in-one. It should pop up a thing, and you should say connect. So I'm going to add, I'm looking for note investors. So I'm going to go, I have a whole variety of things to search for called note investors. I'm going to look for, let's just say 300. I'm going to try to find 300 note investors that I've not connected with in my search like it is. And that's the thing. It's going to go search for it here. All right. And when it does, Octopus will look at my search here on LinkedIn. It'll look at the profiles. The first 300 they'll pull, and they'll move those 300 profiles into the Octopus CRM. Okay. Give it a second here. It's 58% done. 68, 76. 80, 87, 96, and 100%. All right. Now I send it to the CRM. So I'm going to click on my CRM button here. It should take me over here. All right. So 3 out of 300 profiles, because I've used this quite, 242 profiles have been skipped since 20 already in my campaign. 100 profiles have already been processed by you. 112 are reviewing your invitation. 10 profiles are invalid. So that's a beautiful thing. So I have, if I'm looking for investors in Austin, I have, hopefully you can see, make sure you can see my screen here one more time. Yep. I have 554 to connect with here in Austin. You can see up here in my investor thing, LS first name, it automatically pulls Karen. I'm an investor looking to connect with other investors in the area. My focus is buying distressed debt. Talk with Scott Carson. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up there and hit 100 people. So I do first thing in the morning. First thing when I sit down, I can send out about 100 invites in a 24-hour period. So I'll hit launch, and it'll basically just automate it going forward. And it's sent to Karen Orozco. It's sitting on the next one now. And I can go do something else. I can click back over on LinkedIn while that's running on autopilot and do something else. Okay. All right. So that's the thing, is using this can help automate it while I'm working on other things, or I go get coffee, go to the bathroom, whatever. And I got Octopus automate in the back. Now, if I've done too many, it'll tell me too many requests. Okay. But it spaces it out, which is really nice. So it's done Karen, it's done Alex Greystoke just in that time frame. Okay. Really a valuable thing. Now I can send a message to these people after they connect and say, hey, love to connect with you some more. Hey, I got a deal in your area that I'm looking for. Okay. Now that's Octopus. I use it. I'm going to stop this here so you guys can see. I have a variety of them. I have podcast hosts I'm looking at. I have a default campaign, fitness podcast host for a friend. What is that one? I can't see because the button. Human resources for things, note investors, podcast hosts, real estate podcasters, real estate investors Austin, real estate investors Dayton, real estate investors Jacksonville, Philly, St. Louis, DC, and a whole thing. Real estate investor neutral, real estate investor Houston, Georgia, all sorts of things on here in these profiles. And I have a different set of people that I'm reaching out to. I have a different automated set. So if I go to That's real estate investor there. Let's do special asset managers. Where's that at? Boom, 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 boom. Right? Special asset manager. I wanted to see if you were the correct person at blank who handles your firm's distressed loans. I love to connect, see what you might be looking to get rid of in the fourth quarter. Okay. So that's the beautiful thing when it comes to that. It shouldn't be 1 year. We've done it more than that. But anyway, you see, we've got a whole variety of things that you can set up. So if you're focusing on a city like Houston, great. Or if you focus on a state, you could do like Georgia, like I do that. So it's a really great thing to use if you're doing specific cities and states, depending on what your marketing is. So that's why we always tell you guys, pick 3 to 5 states, pick the biggest cities in those states, and start marketing to them. Okay. So that's a really cool thing with Octopus. Now let's go to Calendly here. Share my screen with you guys. So Calendly, it gets people to schedule. So event types. I have a variety of schedules. So I have International Podcast Day was an event I did last year. Note Camp 2020. I use that for Note Camp. I've done this for helping Steph with her podcast. Mass media, another webinar, podcast calls, 30-minute meetings, NCS podcast recording. All right, and I have a different email for my asset manager one. But literally, if somebody clicks on this, my 30-minute meeting, which I use that with investors all the time, you guys would use that. It's really nice because I can go to just talkwithscottcarson.com. It's the same thing. It's a 30-minute meeting. And you see, you pick a date. Oh, I want to talk to Scott this Friday. I got a time. Okay, pick out a time. Confirm. I'm going to ask a name, email, best number to reach you at. Do I need to have anybody else on there? How'd you find out about Scott? What would you like your focus to be on? And schedule an event. Now, the beautiful thing, I can export that list, but Calendly now will send them a calendar invite. It'll send them a text message reminder, and it alerts me that I have to do it. So it saves me so much time and so much when it comes to the booking stuff. So questions about Calendly, Octopus, just start using these things to connect with people, ladies and gentlemen. It will make your life so much freaking easier out there. Okay. And it's pretty inexpensive because your time is better spent than trying to schedule things individually. As much as you can automate where people can book with you and then connect. And if they have a schedule conflict, they can rebook it through the link. Easy to rebook if you got to push it out to a later date because you're without power or water or in Snowmageddon, whatever it might be. But really excited about that. 2 tools, Octopus and Calendly, I think should be 2 tools that every investor use. Calendly.com. So we've covered a lot so far with today. We covered sharing case studies on Monday, sending out regular emails on Tuesday, finding IRA investors for funding yesterday. Remember, 752 investors in about 5 minutes. Networking with other investors, taking it to a whole different level than what you're used to. Tomorrow, we're talking about some of the ways to leverage conferences to find funding. And this will surprise you. I think it'll be an interesting thing for you guys here tomorrow for day 5 of our challenge. Okay. Yeah, Sylvia, Octopus only works with LinkedIn. It is a LinkedIn only plugin, Chrome plugin. Okay. Yeah, you can only use Octopus exclusively with LinkedIn. Doesn't work with anything else. Okay, because you got to realize most people don't have their email on LinkedIn, but if you have that LinkedIn profile, it can pull over. And that's what Octopus does. It links into that LinkedIn profile and can send it via LinkedIn's basically email server. All right. So it's kind of a really nice feature for that. Okay. Use it. Trust me, especially with you working full time. That's something you can do in your part time in the morning or in the evenings to kind of have it automated for you, especially if you've worked a long day. All right. So a couple of things, guys. If you have not signed up for a VIP ticket, we have some really great stuff we're going to cover over the next few days, next couple of weeks here on the funding side of things. We'll be talking more about the county clerk versus the county appraisal district, IRA events, IRA and 401k lists, foreclosure lists, sponsoring events, doing some more LinkedIn searches, Facebook groups, all sorts of great stuff. Trust me, guys, you want to get signed up for that, either that gold ticket for $99 so you get access to this. All right. Those of you guys that have a free ticket, guess what? Your free ticket is good for the first 5 days. After the 5 days, you don't get access to these the remaining 20 topics. So get signed up. You can get signed up by going back to the main website, 5daynotes.com. Very easy for you guys to go to 5daynotes.com. Going straight to the website there. And you don't have to hit RSV or pre-spot. All you have to do is just scroll down here. Scroll down here and grab your gold pass here or your RSVP for your VIP pass here, ladies and gentlemen. And the VIP, you're gonna have scripts, extra forms that we use. We got over $1,000 in bonuses that we'll announce tomorrow for guys. All the replays, lifetime access, all 20 days. The free, guess what? You get the 5 days. Love to have you. But here, guys, seriously, if you're interested in the 99 gold pass, guess what? You get to stay in a group. You get access to all 20 days. And then you get the replays with this 99, but you don't get all the extra bonuses that were thrown in with the VIP pass. It's well worth it. Trust me, it is well worth it, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be covering over the next 15, 16 days. So love for you to be a part of that. Wayne, LinkedIn, Octopus does not work with an email. It works with a LinkedIn profile. It sends it through the LinkedIn emailing service, bud. All right. It just works with LinkedIn. It's not pulling an email. Okay. But anyway, going back, guys, get signed up for a gold pass or VIP pass and get access to everything that we're going to go through. If you guys have loved the first couple of days so far, you're going to love the final 16 days. So otherwise, if there's no other questions, we're going to wrap it up for day 4 of the 5-day note investing challenge. Thank you so much. Have a great evening, and we'll see you all at the top. Bye.